Jason Palmer, one of the hosts of The Intelligence, The Economist's daily current affairs podcast. The Economist's award-winning shows make sense of what matters, from our special series on China's president to our weekly podcasts on business, technology, and American politics. Our journalists provide fair, in-depth reporting on the events shaping the world. To get the annual plan for less than $2.50 per month, search for Economist Podcasts Plus to start listening today.
This episode is brought to you by Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business. Want to advance your career or switch fields? An MBA from Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business can help. Earn your degree from a top-ranked business school with a thought-provoking curriculum, one-on-one leadership coaching, support from experienced career counselors, and full-time, online hybrid, and accelerated MBA formats. Join the intelligent future. Visit cmu.edu/Tepper to learn more.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about Pong. I don't even know if I said that right. Enjoy. Thank you so much for listening to The Age of Jeremy. You're listening to one of the LoFi episodes. If you are new to this podcast, traditionally it's about all of the amazing adventures that I have going on in the world of entrepreneurship, and I am teaching or talking about the things that I am learning. But in these LoFi episodes, whereas I am right now chilling on the couch, have some Bob's Burgers on, playing on my iPad, this is actually about all the cultural things that I have going on in my life. And by cultural, I mean maybe pop cultural, maybe education-based, maybe learning. But these episodes come out every couple of weeks. Before we get into it, make sure that you like and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure that you follow me on YouTube at Age of Jeremy, where you can also get this podcast. Maybe you're listening to it right now. Before, these lo-fis weren't on there, but you can now put on your RSS feeds or put your RSS feeds into YouTube. And now all of your podcast episodes can be on YouTube. So we are working to make that for all of our Age of Radio podcasts and doing a lot more with YouTube for all of our businesses. So that being said, what else is there? Oh, follow me on all the socials at Age of Jeremy. And let's go ahead and hop into this lo-fi episode. This is being recorded on February 4th. I have no idea when you're going to hear it. It'll either be sometime this week or at the end of this week, maybe the beginning of next week. Who knows? Podcasts live in all of time, and you can listen to them whenever because they're recorded audio that's distributed through RSS feeds. So the first thing I want to talk about is my Apple Pencil. I am super, super stoked about my Apple Pencil. I finally got one. It is amazing, and I am usually not an Apple connoisseur or an Apple, super fan, but I am starting to turn into one from a consumer perspective for my iPad. I got an iPad mini for my birthday and I'm obsessed with it. Let me tell you why I'm obsessed with it first. First of all, the first reason why I'm obsessed with it is because rather than having newspapers, even though I do like a good newspaper, I don't have a place to archive them. I don't have a place to keep them. They end up going in the trash. It seems like a waste of trees and life and forests for the little birdies. And so I have all of my Barron's, my Bloomberg, my Economist, my Market Watch, my Wall Street Journal, my Financial Times, all my subscriptions, all in a little folder on my iPad. And I can go in there and I can read them. And this iPad mini is the perfect size. And so that is made me fall in love with it, one. And then just, I don't know, having it in front of me while I do stuff. 2 was really helpful, being able to have my OneNote, listening to YouTube music, whatever. All the things probably all people already knew about iPads and already had them. And these are things that you can do on any pad for the most part. But I don't know, I really like the look, the feel, how the ease of use of this iPad mini. And I am happy with it. The other reason why I'm happy with it is because I got an iPad pencil. And I got an iPad pencil because I had gotten one for Ariana, who's my niece who lives with us, and she said she loved it. I am not an artist by any means, but I thought it would be fun to get into Adobe Fresco, kind of increasing my creativity, because one of the things that I am pretty adamant about these days is that to be a good entrepreneur, to be a good innovator, you have to be creative. So I've been listening to this subconscious mind programming creativity piece every single night, and my creativity has just skyrocketed on top of actively trying to do things to improve my creativity, have other hobbies that kind of cross train creativity or cross train my main skill set. And so I'm really excited about where my creativity level is going, my ability to write better songs, business ideas, content creation ideas. And so I'm really focusing on that piece of it. And so I got the pencil today actually, and so far it's amazing. I love just being able to go into my iPad. I have a list of the things that I wanted to talk about on this lo-fi episode. I opened up my OneNote on the iPad, and I just wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It writes amazing and all the things that I want to talk about. So I'm going to come back to the iPad pencil in a minute. Also, too, it just like kind of clips to the side of the iPad. It charges it. It connected it. It just works phenomenal, and I couldn't be more pleased or happy with this product. So maybe I'll try some other Apple products in the future. I have always actually thought about getting an iMac, and I don't have anything traditionally against iPad or or Apple itself. I think it's a fantastic company, very innovative. I think Tim Cook, for the most part, has done a pretty good job. I think they have kind of not really been as innovative as they have been in the past, and I've heard some really good things about the Apple Vision Pro, but that price point for that bad boy is just ridiculous. So I will come back to the pencil in a minute because there's something else I want to talk about later regarding the pencil. Maybe this is a good note to myself to organize the flow of this as a little bit better, because I could have went into the other thing I wanted to talk about first, but we're going to talk about lives. I'm really focused on doing lives. I did a TikTok live the other night, utilizing the TikTok desktop. It used to be that you had to have 10,000 followers on TikTok. I have about 6,000 followers on TikTok. And so I couldn't use the studio. Well, they changed it, and I was able to download the TikTok studio. I was able to do a live. I wanted to do it where I was watching or playing World of Warcraft while I did it, but my laptop could not support the memory required. It was too much for the computer to handle, having the desktop open and the live. So I'm sorry, and the desktop studio along with the World of Warcraft open, because I have this Pandarian who's named Bernando, because he's a Pandarian, he's a panda bear, Bernando. Anyway, and so I've been working on him occasionally, just kind of to relax or chill. And I wanted to play that while, I took questions from the audience for podcasting. I'm sorry, for finance. And what ended up happening was, because I couldn't do that, I threw the second screen over to the Google Jamboard, and I answered finance questions. And luckily I had a person that was in the academy that was on there that was asking me a bunch of questions, and I just answered them, and was able to write stuff on the pad screen. I don't like Jamboard as much as I thought that I would, because and I can't figure out how to change it. So maybe I'm missing something. I need to research it, but I can't get the pen to be more fine, to be a more fine point pen to write on. It seems to be very, like, the thickness of the writing pen is too thick for me, and for some reason I can't change it. So I don't know what's causing that. If it's the Huion, because I have a thicker tip on it, or what. So Huion's a company that makes like tablets, and I have a digital display, and then I also have the writing pad, and the writing pad just works really, really good. It's really small. You plug it in. I'm really used to it, and very, very happy with the writing pad from Huion. So I'm not 100% sure if it is because of I'm not 100% sure if it's the tip of the Helion or if it's something with Jamboard that I'm not figuring out. But one of them is not working for me, so I don't know. And so my goal is to do more lives. The problem is I like lives personally. If it's just a conversation or me talking about stuff, almost similar to this podcast or something of that nature, it's almost like I want to have it as a vertical screen rather than a horizontal screen. So that's one of the things that kind of I don't like using with um like I don't like using with StreamYard. So a lot of the lives that we do use StreamYard for it. And the reason why I don't like sending it everywhere is because it'll all come in horizontal, and I want the lives to be vertical because I think that they work a lot better when you're utilizing the phone feature if you're recording, doing them from your phone rather than sending them out through StreamYard and then them being horizontal. Even though I've heard that TikTok wants more horizontal content on the stream, but I'm not 100%, sure exactly why that would be. But one of the things that I'm excited about is doing more of the live. So I'm thinking of like all the finance stuff will be on TikTok. There's a live show that I want to do with Age of Radio on Instagram, but it's very hard to get the host to connect with me to do it. So I'm working on that. Then there's the live show that we're going to do in the Addicted to Podcasting Facebook group that we need to get back up and going in there. And then there is the live that I want to do on YouTube whenever I do like cultural stuff. I just feel like YouTube works really, really good from a perspective of talking about like gaming or entertaining things, I guess. Pulp culture is something that's really important to me. Like one of my main dreams and visions is always to be a first user of like technology, a first user of the things that are happening in the world. I think that's one of the reasons why we're able to move some of our businesses so fast, because we stay up to date with a lot of the trends that are going on and we utilize them as best we can as they're coming in. And I like being a first user of things, not only a first user of like technology, but also a first user of like things that are happening in culture and staying up with those aspects. Now, and I don't mean that in the same sense of like the being up to date with the thing that's going on with Taylor Swift with the Super Bowl and all of that stuff. Even though I heard tonight that on the Grammy she said she announced a new album already, so I thought that was kind of cool. But I don't mean like pop culture in that being a first. I guess I don't mean pop culture in that sense. I mean pop culture and being the first to know about the things in the areas of in the industries and in the spaces that I'm interested in. I want to be the first person to utilize those things and to tell people about them. And I think that YouTube works much better for that because most people are spending most of their time on YouTube as opposed to other areas. Or in short bits, which leads me to the third thing that I want to talk about, which is starting to do vlogs. And so CJV, Coach JV, is going to be doing a vlog, and it's going to be around, the people want a more inside look at the way that he lives his life. And so I think that idea for the vlog is fantastic. We've always wanted to do something along those lines, but we haven't been able to kind of like really hone in on it just because of trying to grow the businesses, starting other businesses and things moving so fast. So he's going to be doing that specifically himself. And so because YouTube's a big part of my Age of Jeremy brand, I'm going to do something very similar to it, even though I kind of do some of that stuff through the podcast. But I think that people are more apt to sit and watch it, and they want to see it and feel what's going on in everybody's lives. I think that a lot of the times people think that we're doing all of these like crazy things, but like most of the time things are just like this stagnant, repeatable, these repeatable activities that we do. And so you can show a lot of those things through micro vlogging, which is like Instagram shorts. But I think if you take a bunch of clips and you put them together, whether or not it has a full purpose of the story, will allow people to see what's actually going on in the businesses. So like right now when I was doing this, because I'm going to start doing a similar thing. And so however, mine, I was trying to think of, I like naming, I have a naming convention for things. I like them to be fun and exciting. So my vlogs are going to be called Reality Bites. And so it's all like reality bites, but they're also reality bites because they're clips of the things that are going on throughout the week. So every day as we're going through our routines, or at least once a day during the week, I'll talk about what happened during that day, or a few times during the week, what's going on. I'll clip those together at the end of the week and I'll release that as a video because it'll be easy to clip them as long as I'm saving them in a specific place. And so for me, it's really easy to save all of those clips inside of a OneDrive file on my phone and then move them over into, or then be able to pull the OneDrive files from the computer. And so that's one of the things that I'm really trying to do for the vlogging, to get that out there on top of doing more micro vlogging from the stories. The thing is that there's not really all that, I guess my concern or my worry is that there's not really all that much stuff that's going to happen during the week. So a lot of it'll be kind of like a vlog, like me talking about what's happening. But then occasionally there will be some really interesting things that happen, like if we go and travel or we go and do something, maybe we can go and or if we go and visit people that live in another place, or when we go to our Connecticut, or when we do certain, like this weekend, we're going to have our Freedom Conference. I'm sorry, not the Freedom Conference. We're going to have our insurance conference. We're going to have people come and learn more about insurance and to talk about stuff and learn about Nationwide and Pack Life and all that. So as it relates to that, it can be very interesting to see those things when they happen, but the rest of the time it's just going to be kind of normal stuff. Like Mondays, I have a meeting with Johnny and the rest of the Merlin team. We have a marketing meeting. We're working on trying to get better SEO, so we're going to have a conversation about getting more blog posts out there, getting more blog stuff on our website, and moving the business forward. And I just had a super tasty on Candy Crush. I'm just playing Candy Crush while we talk right now. And the reason why I'm playing Candy Crush is because if you don't know, King, which is owned by Activision, is owned by Microsoft, and I'm a huge advocate for Microsoft, so I am supporting Microsoft as much as I can in my life. But this board has been covered in sticky frosting. So anyway, so reality bites are going to be coming every week. And then because of that, I'm going to be trying to find someone to be able to help me with the editing and things of that nature. So that's something that I'm going to be looking for. And then we're looking for certain roles in regards to news at Age of Radio. So I'm also really excited about that. And so be on the lookout for Reality Bites. I'm probably going to put mine out over the weekend is going to be my guess. I'm going to try to get on a regular schedule, but I'm kind of a little anal when it comes to editing, especially the sound quality of it. And I'm getting even more anal the more that I do. And I've been doing a lot more recording and a lot more audio pieces and a lot more pushing stuff out there. So be on the lookout for that. So for some of the things that we're working on, just to kind of recap, lives, going to be going on TikTok live, trying to once every other week for right now, or I'm going to try for once a week, but I'm not going to commit to that because I'm trying to find a good time and time to do it. So this last one I did from 10 to midnight. And then we're also going to be trying to do some lives occasionally on some of our other platforms. I think Gary Vaynerchuk does it really good. Not to go back to the lives too much, but Gary Vaynerchuk doesn't have a regular schedule for it. He just lets people know when he's going live, and he goes live and people jump on. I think that actually may or may not work better, but I'm not 100% sure. Who knows? Okay, and then the other thing that we're doing is working on Reality Bites, which is going to be a vlogging of the clips throughout the week, so you can see into the things that are going on in my life and in the 3T life and all of those lives as a vlog. And it's just going to be practice for me getting good. one of the things that I have been really thinking about is that it's really 20,800 hours to get good at something. So it's going to take me 20,800 hours to get really good at vlogging and really good at the recording piece of it. The thing that slows me down is the editing. So I know that that's going to be something that I'm just going to have to bite the bullet on and put in the work or get someone else to help on it. So the other thing that I started doing this week, as you know, I've been working on my Japanese practice. I don't get to do nearly as much as I would like. In fact, I've been sick with RSV for the last couple of weeks. In fact, it's still not fully healed. So if you hear anything, bad about my breathing right now, it's probably from the lung piece. I think it's kind of turned into a little bit of bronchitis or maybe pneumonia to some extent, but who knows? And I've been struggling with that. So I haven't been able to practice as much as I want in some areas, but that is perfectly okay. And I was watching this YouTube video from this girl who is a bachelor's in Japanese studies, I think, or in Japanese language. And she was showing some of the things that she does. And this is one of the other reasons why I got the pencil. And so the Apple Pencil was because I wanted to be able to use this app called Learn Japanese, and it allows you to do the hiragana and the kata. Jesus Christ, I am the worst sayer of words ever. Maybe I shouldn't practice Japanese in any way whatsoever. So the hiragana and the katakana, it lets you practice both of those on the iPad. So this evening I was practicing my hiragana, and then I hit a paywall and I haven't purchased it yet. Or instead of playing Candy Crush, I would be practicing the hiragana. And so I think that that's a really cool, awesome feature of the Apple Pencil also, and something that I'm really, really happy about and really excited that I got was the pencil to be able to practice that, because it's easier to have this in my hand and practice than a workbook when I'm sitting on the couch. And so I think that that's also one of the things that I really enjoy about having the iPad mini, is being able to some of these innovative apps that are educational in nature. The one thing that is pissing me off is I can't log into my Duolingo account on my iPad because it's not picking up the Facebook login, or I don't know what the fuck I did to when I created the login for my Duolingo. So that's a little bit about what's going on with the Japanese, and I haven't even had a chance these last couple of weeks to study any of the Spanish because we were doing these 5P framework videos in 3T, and then I got sick, and I've been focusing on getting all of the taxes done because it is tax season, and that's probably all I'm going to be working on this week in between meetings, and I am really stoked and excited about that, let me tell you. In fact, I don't mind doing the taxes. I think where my biggest thing that kind of frustrates me in the whole area of the bookkeeping is not having the time to focus just on doing the bookkeeping for 30 hours a week. And so, one, it allows us not to budget the way that I wish that we budget. It allows me not to keep up with books the way that I want to keep up. And then we're always doing and changing things, which is fine. The doing and changing things to get us to where we need to be is fine. But then there's no time that's input to catch up with making sure that the processes from those things are moving forward properly, and there's not enough, people or time to be able to do those things. So I think one of the things that's beneficial is having Antonio, but he only works minimum for me for the bookkeeping, and I don't want to. One, I'm not going to take more of that money from 3T to pay for that. So part of it is covered from 3T, and then part of it's covered for myself for what I pay him. So my goal is to get other clients and other people so that I can pay him more so that he can, do more for the bookkeeping and the taxes, and we can take on more people. Because generally, like, one of my favorite things about accounting, and I thought about getting a master's in taxation, is I enjoy taxes. Like, if I were a lawyer, I would have no problem being a tax lawyer, helping people solve tax problems. Being an enrolled agent and representing people in front of the courts as an enrolled agent would be fantastic. And that's one of the areas which I would like to get Q Financial to move into. My biggest problem is all the people around me seem to need me, which is fantastic, and I'm very grateful for that. Need me to be doing things, and I want to move away from that so I can be focusing on these other things and follow my theses of the businesses and the conglomerate that I'm trying to build, which includes finance, insurance, more taxes, education, e-learning, helping people construct it, help people get their companies into the digital age a little bit better, because I feel like companies are nowhere near where they need to be with that. But so that's kind of where my focus is this week, is with doing the taxes. As far as stuff that I've been watching, I haven't really been watching too much stuff. I've been really chilling, playing Mario Kart a lot more, or video games are easy to play and listen to podcasts or music while I'm playing them, or whatever the case is. But I did sit down this weekend to chill. I think it was like last night around 10. I put on a Korean show on Netflix called My Name. It wasn't as good as I thought that it was going to be, but it is. I recommend that you watch it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but Korean cinema is really fantastic. I'm a big fan of Hong Kong cinema, Korean cinema, Japanese cinema, and because we are very, it seems this generation, the Zers and the Alphas, they're really into Korean pop music and Korean culture and Korean stuff. Where when I was growing up, it was really more Japanese focused. And anime is still really popular and people love it and they like it and all this stuff. But it is, it is. I can see that I can see that anime is still really really big, but I can see that Korean stuff is very very big for this younger generation, or the generation below me, the Gen Zers and the Alphas, which are my children's generation or whatever. And so I'm watching a lot of Korean stuff, and My Name is pretty good. So essentially, what happens is there's this girl who, and this isn't going to spoil it. This is the premise of the movie or the show. It's 8 episodes on Netflix. It came out in 2021. It won some pretty good international or awards, and so it's really good. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be, but it's pretty good. And I'll tell you why it's not as good as I thought it was be after I tell you the synopsis. The synopsis is a girl. She's 17. She loses her father. He's involved with this like drug organization, or this mafia type style organization in Korea, and so in South Korea. And so she loses her father, and then she vows revenge. She ends up going into the organization. She passes all the tests to be a part of the organization, and that her father was a part of, because her father was best friends with the head guy of the organization. And she ends up becoming a police officer. So they have a person on the inside, and she's trying to become a police officer because it's thought that the person that killed her father was an actual police officer. And so that's the premise of the story. It has one of my favorite movies of all time is called Infernal Affairs. It's a Chinese movie. It's the movie that the Departed was based off of, which is Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon movie, where one of them's in the mafia and one of them's a cop, and they both swap places inside of each of the organizations. And Infernal Affairs and Infernal Affairs 2 are probably two of my favorite movies. Infernal Affairs 3 is okay, but the first movie is what The Departed is based off of, and it's almost verbatim, except it takes place in Boston as opposed in wherever it takes place in China. And so, and so it has that feel to it. And most of the Korean movies that I've been watching, they have these like weird twists at the end that are you kind of know that they're coming. Like when I watched oh dang, there was another Korean movie that I watched, Believer, and the twist that happens in that was exactly what I thought was going to happen. So that was like super predictable. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't think it was as good. And then I don't think that they don't give enough to the lead character, the female lead character. I think her name's Jin Woo is her birth name, or Jin Woo, Ji Woo, Jin Woo or Ji Woo, and they don't give enough, like, I don't know. She doesn't have enough, like, in my opinion, like acting speaking parts. It's really action, and then all the people that have like the acting, that is the dialogue acting, is like everybody else around her. And so I don't know why I don't know. It feels weird to me with that aspect of it. But other than that, it's a fantastic show. So I really recommend that you watch it. I don't think it's like a seasonal. I think it's just like a mini series, but I won't know that. I have 2 episodes left to watch. So hopefully when I finish it, I'll remember to kind of fill you in on it. But I do recommend that you watch it. And you're never going to really find me say not to watch anything. I'm a very big, avid, while I think that watching garbage and reading garbage is like not watching garbage and reading garbage, the problem is that it's hard to, you have to watch and consume everything to know really what's going to be worth it and what's good. And so, which is hard because we have so much shit to consume. Like I could spend my whole, like if I was in like just a pop culture, if I just did a culture podcast or a culture show, I would be watching shit all the time. Like I would have to watch everything, read everything, know everything. There is so much content that comes out there into the world. And so I really recommend that you watch and you read as much as you possibly can and play as many games as you can. Which brings me to the last thing that I want to talk about today is Mahjong. So February 10th begins the Year of the Dragon. This is Chinese Festival Week here in Arizona and probably most places, because February 10th starts the Chinese New Year, and then I think at the end of the year the Japanese have something. We have a Japanese week here in Arizona at the end of February. Point being is that I went to the Chinese festival. My mother is very into Chinese culture, feng shui. They had a mahjong place there to learn how to play mahjong, and I learned how to play mahjong, and it was very fun. You have to, essentially, they're tiles, but they're called cards. They work just like cards, but they're tiles, which I have so many questions about as far as the history of mahjong goes for that one specific piece, which I would love to write about. But as you know, I have so much stuff going on, so who knows when I'm going to write anything. And so I loved seeing the playing the game. And essentially you have 18 you have 18 tiles or 18 cards, and you have to draw and discard tiles to make 3 sets of 5. So 5 sets of 3. That could be 1, 2, 3, or 3 pairs, kind of like, or 3 of a kind of like in like a rummy-esque game, I guess. And then you have to have 2. So that's why you have 18, because you have to discard 1, and then you have 17 tiles left. So you have to make 5 sets of 3 and then 1 pair. And so that's the premise of the basic classic game, I guess. But then there's like other things that happen at like Pwn, which is I think how I won, is through a Pwn. So I ended up winning, but for the longest time, for the whole game, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And then it kind of started catching on, because I need someone to, the way that I learn is I need someone to like tell me exactly how the whole thing goes. I remember most of it, and then I play it to get better. And we just started playing without any essence of what was really happening. And my mom, she picks up stuff really fast when it comes. She's really good at games. And, you know, I wish she played more. I mean, she plays games with me, and we love playing Scala and rummy games and backgammon and all kinds of stuff. But so I guess I shouldn't say that. She does play a lot of games, and she loves playing games with me, and I love playing games with her. And so, but you have to get like but so she picked up really quick. And so essentially, if someone discards something that creates your pair or your triple, one of your sets, you yell out Pwn, you like Pwn, and then you grab it, and then you have to show them what it is when you lay it down specifically. And so that is specifically how I actually won the game, was because I ended it with having the Pwn instead of having, you know, doing it the regular way. And so after that, I ended up finding a set that I want to buy of Mahjong, but then I was also trying to find it on the Apple game store, and I was not successful at finding something that was exactly what it needed to be on Apple. So I am going to learn more about Mahjong, and I am going to explain it and tell it to all of you as I learn about it. So I hope that made sense. So you have to collect, it's like you have 18, you discard 1, you have to have 5 sets of 3 and a pair, and then if you like discard something that then someone uses, you yell out "pwn" and you grab it, and then you show it and disclose to everybody what it is that you laid down. The rest of the time, I think everything is hidden. Like, we had everything shown because they were showing us how to play the game, but like if you were playing the game, you wouldn't show it, but then when you lay down a set, you lay down a set. So I'm going to learn more about that, and I'm going to share it with you as well. And with that, we will go ahead and end this lo-fi. I enjoy each and every one of you, and I always say, be thankful, grateful, and kind. Namo Midabutsu, and I will talk with you next time. Bye.
The corner store is selling spit, bottled up for profit. I can't believe I'm buying it. Isn't that genius?
Thank you so much for listening to The Age of Jeremy. Our opening song was Brave Faces Everyone by Spanish Love Songs. Our closing song was Illuminati Hotties by Threatening Each Other with Capitalism. Again, this was a lo-fi culture episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this podcast, go ahead and like it and share it with a friend and subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts. That would be amazing. These lo-fi episodes I record with usually my H1N, the basic one. Zoom has a new H1N out now that I'm probably going to pick up as well, and I use a Rode lapel mic, and then I edit it with Cubase and Waves plugins. And one last time, be thankful, grateful, and kind, and we will talk with you next time. Bye.
To sell